Segment 4, Nikud Achat, Nikud Gimel. Ma ya'asu. Ma ya'asu. Through this activity, you will build your skill in forecasting how a group will behave. Notice the scenarios that are listed below. There are 9 of them. Begin by selecting one of these. When you engage this activity in class, you'll refer to the scenario which you've selected, but you will not disclose it to the neighbor that you're conversing with. After locking in on one of these scenarios, next proceed to select a verb. Verbs are available to you in the table, found either in the textbook portion or in the appendix portion of segment 4, Nikud Achat, Nikud Aleph. It will be important that you select a verb which fits, which is suited to the scenario that you've already picked out. The verb should depict what your friends or your family would typically do if they found themselves in the scenario that you selected. Here's the table of suitable verbs found in the main textbook portion of segment 4, Nikud Achat, Nikud Aleph. And here are some verbs which you may wish to use that are found in the appendix portion of 4, Nikud Achat, Nikud Aleph. It's a good idea to go beyond simply finding a solitary verb, but also add some additional elements, perhaps an object or a prepositional phrase, which would add a bit more interest to the verb that you've selected. Now please direct your attention to the model conversation that you find unfolding below the scenarios. In this particular example, the student has selected as scenario on the beach. Reflecting on what sort of verb might make sense on the beach, the selection has then been made for the verb shachav, meaning to lie down or recline. The proper conjugation for a group who will recline, such as family members reclining while having a picnic on the beach, perhaps, that would be third masculine plural, and it will be yishkavu. That's the reason you find the verb yishkavu folded into the reply in the model conversation. A little more interest is added by contributing a prepositional phrase, al haaretz, to show where it is that they will be reclining. So, when the neighbor inquires, ma ya'asu, your reply would be, al haaretz yishkavu, al haaretz yishkavu. Upon hearing this information, then the inquirer, your neighbor or class partner, should go to the scenarios and see if he or she can ferret out which was the scenario you had pre-selected, which gave rise to the response, al haaretz yishkavu. Perhaps your neighbor will guess on the beach, or perhaps something like late at night, because that might make sense as well. Once again then, in preparation for class, lock in on a scenario, select an appropriate verb, drawing from the various verbs that have already been provided that will be in yiktol, third masculine plural, enrich it with a prepositional phrase or object, and then you'll be ready to engage this activity in class. One final piece of information has to do with the order in which you arrange the words of the sentence that you're composing. Word order or syntax is important. Notice then that a yiktol verb will generally occupy second position in a sentence. It should not stand first. If there is a subject available, begin with the subject. If there is no subject available, but perhaps there's an object or a prepositional phrase, then begin with that object or prepositional phrase, placing the verb after it in second position. That explains why the model sentence reads al ha'aretz, the prepositional phrase first, and then yishkavu, the verb second.